everybody, it's Jenny McGarvey and I'm back with you again today to share how I planned in my memory planner for the week of March 20th through 26th. This week I am using a combination of the Hip Kit Club's Project Life and scrapbooking kit for March 2017, and you can see that I have selected a whole bunch of fun items to use for this layout. I'm leaning really heavily on the florals and the pinks, yet also incorporating some greens as well. So I'm going to work primarily from these items and add them with all 7 of these photos that I have selected. I've printed them all in the 2x3 size and they're all vertical. However, I don't anticipate using them all in that way. I figure there'll be some trimming and some punching going on as well. This is just such an easy size to work with, however, so it makes it really easy to just print them like this and then maybe modify them a little bit if that works out well for me and my plans for the memory planning. As you can see, I'm starting to lay them out where they belong on the page. This is always kind of my first step because then I can work in my plans, activities, journaling, embellishments around the photos and make sure that I still have room for them, since they do require quite a bit of a space altogether, if that makes sense. So events, I can write 2 or 3 different events scattered throughout that entire column, but the photos need to stick together, obviously. So now that I've removed the left hand side of the page from the planner, I'm going to go ahead and reposition those photos back down and also sort of make note mentally what I'm going to do with those. So for example, this selfie I had taken, I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to trim around the outside in a really retro sort of, you know how people in the 80s or whatever used to, like, you'd cut yourself out or cut different shapes out or something like that from a photo or a magazine. So that's what I'm incorporating right here. And so then I'm going to use my adhesive and adhere that down to the page. I just like the way that this is just kind of fun and it's a little bit different. Now I'm going to use that hexagon paper punch, and I wasn't exactly sure that's what I was going to do, but then I decided it would be really fun to punch both of these baseball photos with that punch and then have them next to each other on the days that they, or close to the days that they happened. And then I thought that it would also be really fun to take this pocket card from the Project Life kit and cut out the text with that punch that really made sense and really went with it as well. So I think that turned out really fun, and it's a really good way to make the photos fit a little bit better on the page. Now, of course, when they're printed to the 2x3 size, they already fit in those rectangles. However, I want them to have a good design on the page as well, so it makes a lot of sense for me to trim them down in the way that they work. So now I've added the adhesive to that photo. However, I will probably have to modify that here in a little bit. Now I've taken out this 3x4 card from the Project Life kit and I want to incorporate the whole card. The background is pretty. It will lean towards those greens that I'm going to be adding a little bit later when I add the embellishments, but it'll just give me that nice cluster over on this side for the embellishments and that kind of thing. Except for down at the bottom where I trimmed out that photo of myself, I'm also working on the embellishments because sometimes I have absolutely no attention span. So I'm going to pull that up and I need to move it up a little bit further so that I can get my embellishments to fit. I've added that really cute pink Chamel sticker and then that Mom Life die cut, and that Mom Life die cut is perfect because that was a photo that I had taken of myself at the baseball game when I was freezing, but I had to stay and watch my son, obviously. So now I'm going to go through some of my stash items and then also the kit to find where I can build upon that cluster where I have the 3x4 card, and I'll work on that definitely once I have that photo down. I had taken that photo, or my son actually took it when I was driving, of our very common commute. Now I took a doily from my stash. This is simply a white doily I got in the baking section of Michael's, I believe. I got some colored ones that I had ordered from China, but the white ones you can get, oh my gosh, almost anywhere. Now I'm going to layer on top of it this washi tape that has this really pretty floral design, and I was going to color it. because that's kind of what the idea is with this washi tape. However, I decided to not color it because I didn't want it to be too busy, and since I'm layering this bouquet of flowers on top of it, I wanted to, I don't know how to explain it really. I guess I just didn't want the colors to compete from the washi to that die cut. So I decided to leave it white, and then what they would do is they would lend the floral theme to one another, and I thought that was kind of fun. Now, as you can see, I have also layered one of those little label stickers from the Chamel sticker sheet, excuse me, on top of that photo of our view and our traffic, just so that I would have the ability to label what that was, because, you know, it's not exactly clear, right? Now I'm going to start adding my activities and my events, which seems a little bit backwards to me, if you want to be perfectly honest, since my planning normally relies so heavily on those things. However, I have learned that the way that I'm memory planning in 2017, I usually have absolutely no problems finding room for the activities and events once the photos and the embellishments are already down. So it's really no longer a concern to me to make sure that I do the planning first, since there's always plenty of room. Now I'm just going to be stamping for the planning portion, and I'm keeping it super simple. I'm just going to use super simple boxes and icons, and then also incorporate the scrapbook items when I can, like for example these Dear Lizzie tickets. I love this idea of writing a game on the ticket, and it'd be perfect for travel or any of those things as well. I love using these because, you know, you have that kind of idea of like a ticket to a sporting event, and then I'm writing the information on this ticket. I just like how that sort of overall ties itself together. Now I simply wrote Home Sweet Home on that little label with my permanent pen up at the top. I didn't want to, I was going to maybe write the location, and then I decided, you know what, this is really just kind of our home and where we live, so I figured it was perfect to just write Home Sweet Home. I didn't need to overthink it or clutter it up with too much information. Now I'm going to use that simple box stamp from Sweet Stamp Shop for my activity on Wednesday, and I was not sure if it would fit because I used this one primarily in my classic size Happy Planner, and so I didn't know if it would work with that ticket overhanging onto Wednesday, but luckily it's absolutely perfect, and I just kind of love how that all turned out. And then I'm able to write just that little "so cold" that points to my photo. That's one of the things that I love about my memory planner, is that it's really kind of eclectic and fun, and I can write things like that and have it be kind of journal style slash scrapbook style slash sort of stream of consciousness. I really love that a lot. So now, as you can see, I'm ready to start working on the right hand side of the page, and I've got these 3 photos, and I need to try to kind of how I'm going to figure out how to place them right there, because while obviously it's good that I have 3 of them, I'm not really placing them necessarily in a pleasing way. However, if I did it differently, it would not really tell the story chronologically either. So I have to strike a good balance. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to put this wreath of flowers around this photo of my son, which is kind of funny, I know, and adhere that down to the Friday night section. And then I feel like that really sort of takes the hard focus off of the photos being in that diagonal pattern. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere them all down just right away because I know that's where they're going to stay. I could have made them in a different configuration, but that's really the only way that works for the way that they happened and making sure that it's fairly timely as well. Now I'm going to also start adding some of start adding some of the embellishments and the little bits and pieces from the kits as well. But first I want to make sure that I get my stamping down for the activities. So I'm going to use my black VersaFine like I have been all along, and then this stamp from Sweet Stamp Shop to just leave a little simple box for the baseball game that was happening Thursday evening. Then for the couple of practices that I need to notate, I'm just simply going to use that star icon. Now that's one of my favorite ways to notate something, especially sporting events or whatever. It's just the star icon. It's really simple. But it's also incredibly cute as well. So it definitely works right there with those things together. Now I know that I want to do some journaling in the Thursday and the Friday afternoon slot since I don't have any Friday planned activities except for the dance that's down at the bottom. And so I definitely put my evening slash afternoon activities up in the morning box, which is kind of weird, I guess, but it doesn't really matter by the same token. Like, I've got them where they belong, and then this way it lends itself to being able to add all that journaling that I want to journal. Now I'm using some really old alphabet stamps just to notate the name of this dance down below. I could have used alphabet stickers, but the ones that came in this kit were all dimensional ones. They were either foam or chipboard, and I don't like adding things that are that thick to my memory planner, so that's why the stamps work out really, really well. But they also just look great with all of the stickers and the cards that were included in the kits this month, and so I think that those are really fun addition, and then it stays very true to my style as well. Now that I'm finished working out the Friday evening, I'm going to start working on the activities for, well, these are really actually for Saturday. So now I see that I put them in the wrong spot because these are all Saturday activities. Isn't that crazy? Obviously, I just wasn't thinking. So I am going to pretend that these are on Saturday, but they're really on Friday. And I'm just going to add all of the different activities and events using those star icons, I'm sorry. Now, this is one of the reasons that I actually did this, was because I wanted to show you why I don't like using the same types of things right next to each other. Doesn't that look a little bit weird to you with the star right next to it for the Thursday? So actually, I'm really glad that I screwed it up because now I can cover it up. Isn't that awesome? A mistake that I will turn into a not so bad thing. So now, as you can see, I've pulled out my self-healing mat and my ruler, and I'm going to draw the lines for my journaling. And again, I do this nearly every week, and I'm sure you're probably tired of me talking about it, but I just really love the way that the staggered lines look. It adds that playful and eclectic look, and also then still gives me a really nice straight line for me to do my journaling on as well. And then for me, the added bonus is that the contrast that the lines provide, I really like the way that that looks as well. Now I'm just totally bothered by the fact that I stamped all of those things on the Friday morning and how I need to cover that up and redo it. Isn't that crazy? Well, it'll be okay. It's no big deal. Okay, so now the journaling is finished, but I still have a few things that I need to finish up, including adding just a little bit of journaling for that Sunday morning. And look at that. Now I'm adding journaling in the Saturday morning spot that goes with the Sunday morning, but really that stuff needs to be moved over. Oh, I'm in a pickle. I'm going to have to cover that whole thing. Or maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I don't need to cover it at all. Maybe I'll just leave it, even though it was really all written on the wrong day. Anyway, so now you can see that I added the journaling, and then I'm going to also put down this little heart die cut just because it's super cute, and I think that it kind of ties the photo and the journaling together, and then it also brings the colors from the left-hand side into the right-hand side. It all just kind of works out really nicely as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure those two bottom boxes in the lower right-hand corner because I want to add some of this patterned paper that has the houses on it. I feel like that really goes back to that home thing, which is, you know, the baseball, the tie-in with baseball, excuse me. And so I just really like that, and having all of the baseball photos from this particular week, I just like the way that those play off of one another. So I'm going to peel up that sticker and then slide my piece of patterned paper right underneath it and then re-adhere that sticker. And I'm pretty happy with the way that that turns out. It ends up looking pretty great. And I think that's what I like about it too, is it's got the white background, and so it's really not too obtrusive to the eye. It really sort of blends in, and it's really not all that noticeable. So now I'm making the measurements for just one box because I'm going to trim up a little section of this pink patterned paper and then layer it behind that Project Life card up at the top that I had already done. So that's it for me, screw up and all this week. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comment box below, and I will do my very best to get back to you. Thank you so much, and make it a great day.